So is Sherlock really gone, or are we going to look at a different iteration of the character again?
Do you watch the television show? No one's ever gone. Are they ever gone? It's a multiverse with all these Earths. They're never really gone. He said cryptically.
Is there going to be a whole crisis episode with just all the Wells?
Listen, there's myriad ways to get a show canceled, and that sounds like a great one. Yeah.
Sherlock was such Sherlock. It started like
Sherlock
was going to be. It seemed like it was going to be just kind of like a comic relief character early on.
Yep.
How early did you guys kind of map out that character's arc? Because he turned into something really fascinating.
Generally, the way it works is in the off season. Well, a larger picture of it is, which sort of leads to an answer. It's a little bit of a roundabout answer about, what do you got? You got all you got is time. So, Greg Berlanti, yes. Okay. So Greg Berlanti and I had done a bunch of shows together, and then it was like, okay, those shows, one lasted a season, the other one had the sword of Damocles hanging over, lasted 3 seasons. But when we started out on the Flash, he's like, play the Reverse Flash. I'm like, yes. The idea was that he wasn't Greg Berlanti, the uber Hollywood producer. He was the guy who'd done 1 show, 2 shows, and he still retained that same humility, which is why he's one of the greatest humans to work for. And he was like, if we managed to do 1 season of Flash, how great that would be. I can have it on my desk as a calling card. I've done this. And when we finished that first season, which largely, if you've watched it, was Flash versus Reverse Flash, Barry has a chance to change the most egregious things that ever happened, and doesn't. And then we were like, okay, that's it, I'm done. And then he was like, but what if we could? And then all those other Wells fashion, the genesis of those was, what are we missing? And Grant's still winning, Candace is still winning, Danielle's still winning, Carlos is still winning. I was like, what if we had a daily asshole? Because they really are. And it's like, what if we had like conflict in the cortex? He's a guy who's like no social graces, a bit of a dick, which became a line. And then ultimately you think, because of what's transpired with Harrison Wells season 1, Reverse Flash, you think he's going to be a villain, and he's not. And that was Harry. And then we're like, oh, we're on to something. And season 2 was dark, and I was like, we could use a little more comedy, and that was HR. In the back of my head, I always thought, it would be nice, though, if there was more of a tangential through line that connected to the story we were trying to tell that season. And HR didn't really, we didn't completely do it that way. And so last year with Sherlock, it was like the idea of Sherlock, a master detective, which will be funny because he'll have this pomposity, but also he'll actually be good at what he does, tracking down the Reverse Flash. Like tracking down me was like, oh, and it fits with the story. It's not indulgent. That was a delight to play. That's a long roundabout answer, but yeah.
How did it feel going back to sort of the beginning again and being the Reverse Flash after a couple of years being other
almost every year, if you look closely, almost every year that yellow suit's coming on, and so that's the largest shadow that the characters I play cast. That's the reason that I'm on the show, and so if there wasn't, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't that opportunity in the offing, knowing that I was going to put that suit on. The fact that I know that that's always coming, that that the Joker's got to show up for Batman, and Luthor's got to show up for Superman, and Reverse Flash has to show up for Flash, and the fact that that's always there adds something really delicious to playing the other characters, because you're kind of like tick, tick, tick. This is great, and then pretty soon this guy's going to show up.
Will you be directing again this year?
Yeah, there's always seems like yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's always that's always a thing. Yeah. Doing that. What was interesting is just because we know each other a little well. Like doing the 100th was a delight, and they give you a lot to do the 100th. You're allowed a lot of leeway, and you have I should probably just say they give you a lot to do the 100th. And so
that way there's no
I just want to make sure that when I'm doing it that I'm getting a chance to accomplish the same sort of things that we're allowed to accomplish with the 100th. That's all. That's cryptic too. I'm just leave it there. You guys don't need to have all the info. You don't need all the info. It's a delight to direct a show. I will say that. I love doing it. I love working with these guys. Grant's always like, that's my favorite 2 weeks of the year. You know, we have a rapport that if you could see as Flash fans, it's like, you know, it's all because we're like older, younger brother, but it's a lot of like, that was unbelievably bad. Do that again. And he does it like, that was unbelievably good. That kind of thing. Like he's, you know, Grant and all of the cast, like if you've been to set and you've talked to them a number of times, you know that not every cast is going to sit at your table and get along and genuinely like each other. You know, like that's a rarity in television, and maybe they don't understand how rare it is. But I remember talking to Mike Farrell, the actor that did MASH, the television show. We did a television show together, and he once said, I asked him what was MASH like, and he's like, season 9. On the Friday, we would talk about where we were going to get together for dinner on the Saturday. He said, "Can you imagine that? Season 9. That's what we thought of each other." And he's like, "That." You know, at the time, Mike was in his 60s. He's like, "That's." I know enough now," he said, "to know like what a gift that was." And I think the fact that on our off days, there's the same sort of vibe with our group, like who's getting together, who's, you know, it's again, it's all fleeting, but the fact that we get to have this on a long-running show is special.